Hi, and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Martyn Bailey, and joining us today is Martyn Fordham. Welcome, Martyn. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good
Excellent.
indeed. It's a beautiful warm day here in Cambridgeshire. Hopefully for you
Absolutely.
too.
And here in Business in Edmonds, it's absolutely delightful, absolutely delightful. And look, thank you for joining us today. Now, Martyn Fordham, Martyn's the MD of Asynt Limited, but he's also the MD of multiple other companies. And why don't we start this off, actually, Martyn, by you telling me a little bit about who you are and I suppose what you do, because there's quite a broad portfolio of businesses there.
Yeah, so I started my first business 20 years ago this year, and that was where am now at Asynt Limited. But as you go through life in a business, and other things can happen. And for various reasons, started another business in 2007 called Uniquesys Limited, which is still thriving today. And more recently took a controlling share in an engineering company, which is our key supplier to Asynt and to the other company, Uniquesys. So we're securing our supply chain. That was done a couple of years ago. So it makes for an interesting time, visiting those companies and getting involved in the problems they have sometimes.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I mean, you've there's 2 or 3 businesses that you've got off the ground and you've got actively involved in. So, if you were to sort of transport yourself back 20 years, back to square one, was there anything you would do differently?
No, I say no because yes, if I had the knowledge now, it'd be saying, would you have bet on the horse on the Grand National if you knew the result the day after? You can't go back in time with the knowledge you have today. So I wouldn't really change what I did. Okay. If the knowledge I have now, of course I'd change what I did, but I never had that knowledge, and I had to, and it's learning every year. I look back on the previous year and think, I'm a lot better now, or I've learned a lot. Did I really do things like that last year? Because you're learning all the time when you're running a business.
You are. So you've got all this knowledge now. So for people who are going to be listening to this, is there 1 or 2 things that you know now that if you had known then, you'd have taken a different course or you'd have done differently?
Probably actually not too many things. In terms of, we learned the hard way in 2006, 2007. There was the financial dip, and also, so if I explain our businesses, Asynt and Uniquesys are based in the scientific chemistry equipment markets. We design and manufacture our own products. And that market also took a dip in 2007. So we'd done very well up to that point. I thought, I'm a genius. I'm growing this business really well, making money. I can employ more people and employ more people, and we can just keep going, and it's easy. And then when you hit a financial issue like that, it becomes tough. And that really did sharpen us up, because you have to survive. And that was a very good learning curve. So if I could take back that knowledge, I would have grown the business maybe slightly more cautiously in those early days than I did, without the blasé gun-ho approach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then a tight trading period or crisis can absolutely sharpens the saw. Always does. What 1 or 2 things did it really sharpen for you? What 1 or 2 things did you do that got you through that period of time?
It was really just cost management. We had a lot more staff than probably we could afford. Luckily, some of them left of their own. We didn't have to fire anyone, but people left of their own accord, and we were able to tighten our belts, not spend too much money on unnecessary things, and we got through it. And it was a few years really before we were able to accelerate again.
Okay, and I suppose it's interesting because I mean, a crisis like that always does tend to sharpen the mind about creating a lean business model.
Yes.
However, the real learning of that is you should always have that mind sharpened to create a lean business model every year, whether it's a crisis or not.
Absolutely right. Yeah. So when COVID came along, we were ready. Well, not ready for it, but we were able to manage that with no issues.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was tough and it was concerning. For I had sleepless nights at the early stages of the first lockdown, thinking, "My goodness, what's going to happen? We could go bust," but we didn't, and we didn't lose any money. But we were able to manage that and control it because we'd have been through a crisis before. So yeah, that once you've got the pencil sharpened.
Yeah, and I think I can safely say that would have been you and every other business owner in the UK that was having sleepless nights.
Yeah. I had a lot of sleepless nights.
There was lots of people not sleeping particularly well at that time of the year.
Yes, absolutely.
So you've got 2 or 3 businesses there. You're the MD. MD. 2 of them. You've got a controlling share in 1 of them, and that must put some fairly heavy demands on your time. How do you do you find time management a challenge, or how do you manage your time to be able to manage that workload?
Well, my perception of time management is different to my staff.
It's normally the case.
So I don't think I have a problem with time management, but they think I do, because reason that is because when I started the business, I wasn't going to overstretch myself personally. So weekends are weekends, evenings are evenings. And one of them, I actually was talking the other day to somebody, and they said, "Oh, you used to be on your computer in the evenings." So no, I was surfing the internet or something. I wasn't actually doing any work. Looked like I was working. So I think it's very easy to burn yourself out. And I started off with the mindset that I wasn't going to do that. I had, 2 very young children. I needed to spend bedtime with them and give them every evening. I wanted to spend quality time with my young family. And that was part of that mindset from the outset. And it's worked well. Now, other people may think I've got poor time management, but it's not a problem for me personally. It might be that I might get distracted, you could say, by the latest, most exciting new thing to come along.
Right. Okay. So we'll touch on it. You're saying you're not getting issue with time management as far as you're concerned, but you may get distracted quite frequently.
Absolutely, and that's just my personality. It's interesting because we used to look at personalities in a color wheel. You may have seen that sort of thing before. We haven't done it recently, but I'm very much not blue at all, if you remember the colors of the color wheels. I'm a reasonable amount of red, lots of yellow, which is all over the place. So that's a personality trait. And you can't go out of that too far. I can move around the wheel, the color wheels, which is, I think most business owners can move around that color wheel and put themselves into different areas of the business when they need to, and converse with different types of people.
So what strategies do you put in place to manage that distraction? Because there must be some strategies you put in place at times to avoid yourself being distracted.
So basically, my team tries not to distract me when I'm doing something critical. And what I do have is some very nice Apple headphones I can put on, and they're noise cancelling, so I can still be in the office, but I press a button and I don't hear anything to distract me. So if I'm writing something, I've got to get a project done, and I've got an hour to do it. If I do that, then I can sort of shut myself away. I don't really like to work from home, which is another thing that people do, so they can be working. I prefer to be in the thick of things.
Okay.
And I think actually most of the guys here want to be at work. People, the guys here like coming to work and like being in a team environment.
Yeah.
Same for me.
So from your perspective, being in the thick of things, what benefits do you get from that as MD?
Yeah, so everyone's at hand. If I need to go through anything, or have meetings with anyone, we can immediately sit together and get on with it. But I'm not involved. Day one with the business, I did everything. Did the invoices, I did the shipping, did the designs, I did the accounts, I did absolutely everything. Been there, done that, packed the boxes. I'm happy to pack boxes. I'm happy to do any aspect of the business still, but I don't pack the boxes. And even though it'd be nice to get down and cut pieces of cardboard, I don't process orders. I don't do any quotations. I've done it all, been there, done that. I don't get involved. Actually, in 15 minutes from now, so we're having a big announcement of the company, a new management structure. As we've grown at the company, at Asynt anyway, the main company here. And that is to allow me to focus on the ideas and direction.
Okay, that leads nicely on to another question that's been going through my head. So I suppose where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
So it's a lot of fun running a business, and a lot of people don't think about their exit plan. And how do you escape if you want to retire or you become ill or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So we've looked at various ways, and one is to sell the company, which, yeah, immediate retirement, done job. But I don't want to do that. It's no interest to me to sell the business, or the main business is in. So what I'm looking for is management team to move it forward, so I can focus on growth strategies, ideas, and over time, potentially it moves into the family. So my eldest son is here, learning different areas of the business. But you're looking at 15, not 5 years, but that's probably a 15, 20-year time frame. If he's ever good enough to take it over or wants to, he may not want to. So I'm seeing a long-term strategy of people doing the key things, so I'm actually not needed. In fact, I'm not really needed now. If I wasn't here, I don't think anyone would really notice. But
I'm not too sure that's too true. I'm not too sure that's too true. But yeah, so essentially you're looking to build a business that works without you.
It works without me, but I can influence its growth and continue to play with my train set, you could say.
You can choose what you want to get involved with rather than have to get involved with.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And what words of advice would you give to other business owners who are looking to achieve the same? I mean, you've obviously started this process. What sort of any advice you give out?
Well, so the two, I guess I learned from the two other businesses is I don't manage those day to day at all. I literally only go to board meetings and strategy meetings. So because to run multiple businesses, as you're alluding to, time, it's almost impossible. I tried to do it in 2007 with the other issues we were having at the time with the market dropping. Trying to run two businesses took up too much of my time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to dedicate enough to either to grow them. Both of them needed my focus and attention. So I brought in a managing director to the other business. That was fine. That solved that problem. The engineering business we became involved in. I'm a director, but not doing the day-to-day management. So I brought in a young managing director who's doing a brilliant job. We're doing monthly account meetings, checking the margins, checking all those sort of key things that you have to be on top of in the business.
Okay, good. Well, yeah. So I suppose the advice you're giving there is make sure you're clear on what structure you want and find the right leaders to bring in to
you have to trust people. You've got to give people. You've got to be able to let people take over and do things. I think if you minute manage everything and you check everything, you're going to struggle. And that's how many people are. And I think that's a big problem. I don't have that problem. I'm quite happy to let people do things for me.
No, absolutely. But I suppose I suppose what you're telling me though is you have checks and measures in place to just satisfy your anxiety.
Yes.
To keep your anxiety at bay. Because if you didn't have those tests and measures, these checks and measures in place, you would be quite anxious.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think Something about advice for another business. I think one thing I did have good knowledge of before starting, and the best knowledge I ever started, for starting a business, I would say to anyone, is margin.
Make sure you get
Understand what it's not about sales numbers. Well, it is about sales is key, of course, but the turnover. I don't care what the turnover is. I'm interested in what the margin is, and since day one, we've measured margin on a weekly and daily basis, monthly basis, yearly basis.
Mm.
So,
and rightly so.
really important. Really important.
Rightly so. It's one of the key and real. And you can have sales all day long if you're not making money out of them.
Yeah, I think I've spoken to lots of people looking at starting their own business, and when you ask them the questions about margin, well, we'll sell lots of those. How much are you going to make? And how many would you need to sell? And how are you going to do that? And you start realizing there's a big hole in their plan.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not going to happen.
Great advice. Great advice. I suppose the final question for me today is starting a business or going into business all involves mindset. So if you had any advice to your 18-year-old self before you started business, what would that be?
Be braver and start earlier. That would be, to me, take the leap. I'm cautious. I'm a cautious person, so I could have taken the leap maybe a few years sooner and got stuck in. So that would be one piece of advice for me back at 18. Not doing it at 18 because I didn't know anything.
No.
But
is that so? Take the leap. Is that a bit more about self-belief in yourself, or is it?
You've got, I mean, confidence, willing to take the risk, because it is a risk starting a business. I resigned from a well-paid PAYE job. I wasn't being fired or anything. I resigned. Then to support a young family and a mortgage and food, working from a bedroom in a garage. So that's quite a jump to take. So you have to have confidence But if you've got the knowledge, which I did have, maybe I think I had that knowledge a few years before that, I could have taken the leap earlier, but I didn't.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There's a lot about self-belief. There's a lot about backing yourself, isn't there? Having the courage to back yourself and really believe you've got what it takes and got the knowledge, got the ability to make that a success. And I suppose the other thing that aligns to that, Martyn, is never giving up.
Oh yeah. You've got to keep driving forward. You're going to make lots of mistakes.
Yeah. You're
going to look back. If you're not making mistakes and you're not looking back thinking, "Oh, it wasn't pretty good last year," then maybe you're not being humble enough.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think you've got to have a mindset that says I'm going to make mistakes. But I think the other aspect of this is also not seeing the mistakes as a failure, but seeing the mistakes as an opportunity and a learning.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because that keeps your mindset into your self-belief. Okay, I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to do it better, or I'm going to change it and do it better.
I think one other bit of advice for anyone really. So margin, believe in yourself, but one really important thing is, what's your vision? What's your unique idea? Or are you just copying someone else? You're just copying someone else. Is that a very good idea? You might be, you might see someone else being very successful doing something, but why are they successful? And if you're just copying them, what's their key to success? You may not know why they're successful. So be novel. Try and have some ideas.
Yeah, be unique, absolutely. And even if you are copying somebody else, how do you make yourself unique? So even though you're copying them, you're still...
it's not so much copying, but what can you do better?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to open a coffee shop. Well, why would I go to yours and not Cafe Nero or Costa?
Yeah, what's going to make it different?
Yeah, what's going to make the difference? And if you can do that, there are some great independent coffee shops out there that do that and do it well. they're the ones I would choose above the Costa and the Nero. And
had a
they
latte.
potentially could take over Costa and Nero if they grew and multiple chained in the future. Who knows?
Had a latte and one this morning on the way back from getting my haircut. There you go.
There you go.
Independent, absolutely fantastic. And
Absolutely.
they know what makes them unique.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But Martyn, this has been fantastic. I think there's absolutely, I can't even count the amount of gold nuggets that will be in there for people listening to the podcast. I really just want to thank you for giving us your time and sharing your story.
You're
with
welcome.
us. It's been absolutely fantastic, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me, Martyn. Appreciate it.
More than welcome. It's been our pleasure. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Brilliant. Thanks.